What's going on, Slay Bays? It's your girl Ashley and welcome back to my channel. So I'm super pumped and stoked about today's video because I'm gonna be sitting down filming a full face using nothing over $10. These are legit probably my favorite videos to film on my channel, and I know you guys love to watch them. I'm gonna put a spin on this one, and this one is going to be Valentine's Day edition. I really wanted to do something that was fun and poppy, so that's exactly what this look is going to be. Hopefully you guys are here for that. Definitely subscribe to my channel and turn on your post notifications if you guys haven't already. Also, don't forget I upload every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 times a week, every single week. So stay tuned, join the fun, and let's get into it. The first thing I'm gonna do is prime my eyelids with a little bit of concealer. I'm gonna use this by e.l.f. This is their 16-hour camo concealer, and the shade I'm using is light beige. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this all over my eyelids to act as a really nice sticky base for my shadows to stick to. Moving on to eyeshadows, I will be using this palette right here by Profusion. This is called their Infatuation palette. It is a 21 shade eyeshadow palette. Also comes with a brush, and this retails for $9.99, you guys. Super affordable and very inexpensive. I really do love the quality of Profusion eyeshadow palette. So this is what we're gonna dive into today. I love that within this palette you have a mixture between warm shades, but you also have those really pretty pops of color that could really like elevate your makeup look and really just take it to the next level. I'm gonna start off by picking up the shade called Personal on an M441. This is a really pretty peach tone shade, and I'm gonna rock this into my crease to act as my transitional color. The next shade I'm going to take into my crease is called Bouncy, and I'm going to take that on an M433 and really just start to pack it right here in the crease to really just deepen things up. I'm just really taking my time and really just patting the color into the socket. Now this isn't meant to like define out the crease, it's more so meant to slowly deepen up the crease. I'm the type of person that I love to build shadows, so I like to layer colors on top of each other until I get it to my desired intensity. This just gives you more control and allows you to have more of a seamless blend when applying your eyeshadow. So going back into that same M441 brush, I'm just gonna gently diffuse out the edges and really just get to blending because I don't want things to be harsh, so you just gotta go in and blend, blend, blend. Okay. Now that that's done, it's time to really just deepen up the crease a little bit more. So I'm going to pick the shade called Devoted on an M507, and I'm going to press this right here on my outer V, like so. And then I'm also going to rock this into the socket of my crease. Yes, honey. Yes. So I will definitely say that I feel like the color is blending super nicely onto the lid. Super cute. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go in with a clean M441, and I'm just going to lightly feather out the edge right here because I don't want it to come off too harsh. So I'm just gonna lightly blend out the edges just so that way it blends in a little bit better. So after buffing and blending out those edges, I'm just taking a little bit more of the shade called Devoted, and I'm really just devoting a little bit more time to packing this color in the crease, okay? And I just want to make sure that the shadow is very much concentrated in this area because I do want it to be the deepest part of the eye look. I am going to go right back into the e.l.f. 16-hour camo concealer, and I'm going to use a little bit of that concealer to cut my crease. Of course, cut crease look, super dramatic. Y'all already knew. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just anchoring my pinky on my cheek, and I'm simply just tapping out the concealer so that way it's nice and even. Then I'm gonna go ahead and take a clean brush. It can be anything you want. It's just an M433. I'm simply going to just buff and blend out these edges just so that way they blend seamlessly into the shadow. Now, if you decide to want to lay like shadow directly over top of this edge without buffing and blending it out first, it will get very, very messy. So make sure you go in and just blend out this edge right here so that way things look a lot better. Another thing, you want to make sure you blend out this edge with a clean brush and you don't add any additional product. Now I'm just re-intensifying this outer V area with a little bit of shadow and just flicking it in the crease and flicking it inwards just to help with the blend. You guys, I'm living. I haven't done a look like this in a minute. Now that my crease is nice and cut, I'm gonna go in with my lid shade, and I'm gonna pick up the shade called Halo from the palette, and I'm just gonna kind of pat this right here in the very inner part of the lid. So right off the bat, I will definitely say that I feel like these shadows apply better when they're wet. So spritz your brush with a setting spray, a little bit of Fix Plus, whatever it is that you guys have at home, to really get that foiled effect, because on its own, they do go on a little bit dry. The next shade I'm gonna apply is called Gravity, and I'm just patting it directly underneath that champagne shade called Halo. I'm just kind of pressing it just so that way they blend a little bit better, like that. With a pencil brush, I'm just gonna kind of tap directly over top of the areas where these two colors meet, just so that way they look like they are meant to blend in with each other, as opposed to just being a harsh dark line. Picking up the shade called Go Girl from the palette, I'm just going to pat it right here towards the very outer edge and really just continue to buff it into these other shadows until they blend nicer together. Because right now there's kind of like an awkward moment where this color meets the shimmer, and I don't want that awkward moment. We definitely have to get rid of it. So I'm just kind of gently tapping the shade right here towards the outer V, blending it in with these shimmers. So you can definitely stop here, but I want to add a little bit more sparkle to the look. So I'm going to be using this. This is by Kathleen Lights in ColourPop. This is one of the loose pigments she came out with in her Zodiac pigment collection, and this one is called the Scales. Now I will be laying down a little bit of the NYX glitter primer before actually going in with the loose pigment, just so that way it can stick a little bit better. So with a little bit of that glitter glue on the back of my hand, I'm going to just press it in the areas I want to place the pigment to create more of a sticky base. And I am using my finger just because I do have more control, and then I'm going to dip my finger into the pigment and pat it directly over top. Now this will create a ton of fallout, but it's okay. That's why we're doing our eyes first. There's just a lot of fallout to begin with, if I'm being honest. Then with an M441, I'm just gonna lightly buff the matte shade, like so. Ooh, that is cute and that is poppin'. And you know, I do want that kind of like shimmery gold champagne color directly above it to pop as well. So I'm gonna go in with the Wet n Wild Megalast Liquid Catsuit Shimmer Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Goldilocks directly over top. So real life confessions, you guys, it's been about 3 hours since I last sat in front of the camera. I actually had to run and go do some things. I had to edit some Instagram photos and put up a video. So where did I leave off? I cleaned up all the fallout underneath my eyes here. And now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to foundation and stuff. I'm gonna come back to the eyes because I don't know if you guys can tell, but I did get a little bit of watery eye syndrome where my eyes started to really water in this area. It's all dried up right now, but I don't really want to mess with it as of yet, which is why we are now going to go ahead and move on with the face. Okay, so let's talk primer. I will be using the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This retails for $8, and I did get mine over at Walmart in store. I know it's sold out everywhere, but definitely check your local Walmart because you may be surprised. They may have some in store. And this is a dupe for the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer, with the exception that it does not have skincare benefits to it, but the consistency is pretty much identical. So now that my skin is nice and primed, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to foundation. I will be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Stick Foundation. I did a full review video on a bunch of new Wet n Wild products a few videos back, so definitely check that out if you guys haven't seen it. I am not sure what my shade is gonna be, so this right here is Soft Beige, which is looking pretty spot on if I do say so myself. This one is Buff Beige, which looks a little bit too yellow. And this one is Classic Ivory, which may be too light. So I'm gonna end up going in with Soft Beige. Sorry about that, guys. I completely forgot which shade was my perfect match. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put it all over my face, and then I'm gonna take a damp Equal Tool sponge to really buff and blend out the foundation. Okay, so now that I have my foundation buffed and blended out, can we just take a moment to appreciate the color match? Like, I got a lot of shit in my last video because my foundation was way too dark, but honestly, sometimes you mix a little bit too much of your darker foundation into your lighter foundation and you end up a little bit orange, but at the end of the day, it's makeup. It washes off at the end of the night and we shouldn't sweat the small stuff. So moving on, I do want to do some cream contouring, and the product I'm going to use for that is by Makeup Revolution. This is the Fast Base Concealer. It's a lightweight buildable coverage concealer, and I have mine in the shade C13. I've seen so many people like cream contour with this over on Instagram. I have never used this. I actually meant to use this in my full face using like Makeup Revolution video, but I never got around to actually trying it out. So we're going to see how it goes today. And to really buff and blend out that cream product, I will be using this Clarisonic with a foundation brush head to really just get in there and really work the cream product into the skin. I definitely feel like this Clarisonic blended out that cream contour like a dream. Like, it literally is so creamy and blendable. It's very, very sheer, but it added like that wash of color that I was really looking for to kind of like warm up the skin. What I'm going to do now is blend out my nose contour. I'm just going to use this brush right here by Luxie. This is a mini angled number 131. And I like it because it's super sleek and it just fits right here and it's angled. I typically like to use an angled brush to blend out my nose contour. That's just me. You guys, this concealer blends out so seamlessly and it's been sitting for a little minute. So if you guys are looking for a good cream product to like cream contour with, definitely check this out because I'm impressed. Then I'm going to go in with my Equal Tools sponge and I'm simply just going to pounce it directly over top of all of the harsh edges, because while I do want my nose to be nice and defined, I don't want those lines to be too harsh. I'm now going to go in with concealer and I'm going to use the brand new e.l.f. Cosmetics 16-Hour Camo Concealer. If you guys haven't gotten your hands on this, I definitely recommend that you guys go pick it up. I was recently in Target and I saw that they had a lot of these concealers in Target stores, so definitely go snag it up because I know they are going pretty fast on the Ulta Beauty website. This definitely is a spot-on dupe for Tarte Shape Tape. It does dry a little bit faster than Tarte Shape Tape, so one thing I recommend doing is going in with one side first, blending it out, and then doing the other side just so that way you don't have any hiccups and things don't get weird. And whatever I have left on my sponge, I'm just going to go ahead and put it on my chin, my Cupid's bow, and the center of my forehead just to bring a little bit more light back into the face. So the next thing I'm going to do is bake my under eye area, and the powder I'm going to use is the ColourPop No Filter Powder in Translucent. I'm going to take it on that same Morphe sponge, but first I'm going to look up and make sure I really buff and blend out that concealer just so that way there are no harsh edges or creases, because if you set your under eye area creased, it's going to stay creased all day. So you want to make sure it's not creased before you set it, just so that way it lays nice and smooth. I'm also going to take this powder on my chin, Cupid's bow, and center of my forehead. Now that I have that powder directly underneath my eyes, I'm going to go even further, and I'm actually going to go in with the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade 20 Light Medium. Now this does look a little bit darker in the actual packaging than it is on the face. Like, when I take the cap off, you can see just how dark it looks, but I promise you it's not that dark on the skin. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a puff like this, pick up some of that powder, and really just powder down the face and really set everything in place. I'm also going to take this powder lightly over top the cream bronzer we applied. Don't worry, it's not going to alter the color. You definitely are going to be able to see how bronze this area is with this powder directly over top. So we already cream contour. I'm now going to go ahead and bronze up the skin a little bit. And I'm going to use this new product from e.l.f. This is the Primer Infused bronzer in the shade Forever Sunkissed. They did recently just send this over to me, so I'm excited to see what it's all about. Honestly, e.l.f. is dropping so many new products. They're literally making waves for 2019, and I'm so impressed with a lot of the products they're launching. Let me know if you guys have tried out any of their new launches, and let me know what you think of them down below in the comments. What I'm doing now is I'm just kind of cleaning up underneath of that bronzer. I will definitely say it's very, very pretty, but it's warm, so if you really aren't into warm bronzers, you may or may not like that one. To be honest, I don't mind it. I feel like I can go very cool or I can go very, very warm. It really just depends on what I'm going for. I feel like it's pretty. It adds really nice warmth to the skin, and it's an affordable price. Okay. Now with a little bit of that bronzer on an M441, I'm going to just lightly define out my nose. And with a little bit of that ColourPop powder, I'm just gonna clean up the sides of my nose. For blush today, I'm going to use the Blush 2 palette by Profusion. This has 6 shades of blushes in it, and what I love is that we have a mixture between light, medium, and also deeper blush shades for all different skin tones. Now the shade I think I'm going to roll with today is a shade called Smitten. You guys know I love me a good peach tone blush, so I'm going to take a little bit of this on my Smashbox sheer powder brush and sweep it onto the apples of my cheeks for a flush of color. I'm now going to go in with the shade called Retro, and I'm going to put this on my very lower lash line for an added pop of color. Might as well go all out. I'm actually going to pick up some loose powder from ColourPop and place it directly underneath my lash line because I feel like this purple is going to have a lot of fallout and I don't want to mess up my base area. And then picking up a little bit of the shade called Go Girl and Retro mixed together, I'm going to really buff this out on my lower lash line just so that way it's super soft and smoky. Taking my Morphe E52, I'm just gonna kind of brush away all of the powder that's sitting on my face because honestly, I'm looking really dry. By the way, I did put powder right here just to clean up this edge, but it's been sitting there for a little minute and it's time. Like, it's time for it all to go. Okay? I know my skin looks really, really powdery, so what I'm actually going to do is spritz my face with some of the Coconut 3-in-1 Primer Water by Wet n Wild. I did get a bunch of these in PR recently, and I am literally so freaking excited. Just going to go ahead and spritz my face to melt a lot of the powder down. One of the main reasons I'm spritzing my face before mascara is because when I do it after, I notice that my mascara will literally transfer all on my cheek area, and it's not cute. It's not. So I like to spritz my face quite a few times before I actually go in with mascara, just so that way that powder really melts down and looks a lot more skin-like. Now a trick I like to do is that before the setting spray completely dries down, I like to go in with a little bit of highlighter. This is literally going to make your highlight pop. Like, you're gonna be glowing, you're gonna be beaming, it's going to be blinding. Now this one's already blinding on its own, but this is really just going to amplify it. This is the Wet n Wild Megalo loose highlighting powder in the shade Hustle and Glow. So freaking beautiful. The highlight brush I'm using to apply this is an ABH A23. You guys always ask me what brush I use, and it is an ABH A23. You know what? I actually lied. The loose highlighting powder I'm using is called I'm So Lit, not Hustle and Glow. Picking up a little bit of that loose powder and spritzing a little bit of the coconut spray onto the brush. I'm going to pop this in my very inner corner for an added pop. For mascara, I will be using the brand new BFF mascara by ColourPop. This is their volumizing mascara in the shade Black on Black, and I'm going to use this to coat my upper lashes. So I will definitely say that the mascara is really, really beautiful. I really, really love the formula, and I feel like it does volumize. I'm also a really big fan of the actual brush because I feel like it really grips onto every single hair and coats them nicely. Now, I just feel like this look is way too dramatic to skip out on falsies, so I will still be applying falsies for this look, but you guys can definitely skip out if you're not really into that look. now that I have my falsies popped on, I want to give my post notification shout out of the day. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Karina Castaneda. She says, I've been refreshing like crazy for your new vid. Hashtag notification squad, hashtag slaybays. Now, I know my last video was a little bit late going up and I do apologize, but thank you so freaking much for tuning in every single Tuesday and Thursday, 2 times a week, every single week. Now, if you guys want to be featured in my next video as my post notification shout out, all you guys have to do is turn on your post notifications and leave me a comment down below with the hashtag slaybays. With that, we're going to go ahead and move on to my very lower lash line. Now, I was browsing through CVS and I couldn't find a pink eyeliner. So I opted for this from the Creme shop. This is called their Liplock, which is a smudge stop lip liner crayon in the shade Extra Sprinkles. And I feel like this just complements the look so nice. I'm going to use this as an eyeliner in my waterline because I want a really nice bright pink waterline. For my lip color, I'm going to use this by e.l.f. This is one of their liquid matte lipsticks in the shade Praline. You can definitely stick with this matte lip or you can apply something glossy over top, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take a little bit of the lip gloss by Wet n Wild called Send Nudes. Now you guys know you can always count on me to be hella extra. So I'm going to take some crystals and I'm going to pop it right here on my cheek. And just like that, you guys, this is the final and completed look. I went ahead and tossed on something that kind of matched the vibe I was going for. And I really love the completed look. I feel like this is a really fun, flirty, kind of like Valentine's Day-esque look, or even like a party glam makeup look. Let me know how you guys feel about it down below in the comments. You guys know I had to be hella extra, hella dramatic. Typical me, Ashley. Anyways, if you guys still have not subscribed, make sure you guys press that subscribe button and also click that bell right next to the subscribe button so that way you guys are notified every time I upload, which is every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, if you guys want to be featured as the post notification shout out next week, make sure you guys click the bell and leave me a comment down below with the hashtag slaybays. I love you and I will talk to you guys all very soon. Deuces.